What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Do 2 Bet Daily, September 30th, 2022, last day of the month. Yesterday was a good one. Nice little 3-1 record to put us up for the week. Interesting Thursday night football game. The Bengals pull it out. The Dolphins defense definitely looked a little bit gassed toward the end of that game, but the big story coming out of it, obviously the Tua Tagovailoa concussion. This one confirmed on Thursday night. Really scary scene when you saw him go down. A lot of questions about whether or not he should have been even playing in this game. Magic, did you see the concussion or lack of concussion, I guess, on Sunday that they had? Because it really looked like he should not have been even in the second half, let alone this game here today.
No, I just what you guys were reacting to in the text chains both days. So yeah, it sounded like it was pretty bad. I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was tough watching him on the field last night, especially with everything that was going on. There's already an investigation from the NFLPA side that was launched before the game. This obviously is not going to help that. Great news that he flew back home from the team with the team. I was shocked by that. I did not think it would be that quick of a discharge from the hotel. From a football perspective, the Bengals seemed to get a little bit more right. You saw Burrow start taking shots down the field. The offensive line came around a little bit. That's kind of what we were expecting. Happy to cash the -3.5. Slim got his over prop home with Chase. So it was a good game from that perspective, a little bit scary on the injury side. It's going to be interesting to see what Cincinnati does moving forward. I'd expect we're going to see a whole lot of Teddy Two Gloves for the Dolphins here. But this is the right team for him to actually fit with. Short passes, accuracy, run after the catch. He's a good backup in that sense for these Dolphins. And he's got the weapons outside to be able to kind of make it work as well. So we'll definitely keep an eye on the Tua story, talk a little bit more about the NFL coming up here. We want to talk a little about horse racing because we've got some 2-year-olds running this weekend. The Magic and I are both excited about. Santa Anita opens up. Great card on Saturday. Make sure you check out the Magic Mike show. We covered that. Magic, you were excited about the draw that happened during that show, specifically because of a Baffert horse that's going to be on the turf. Tell us a little bit about the 2-year-old.
Speedboat Beach set the new track record at Del Mar, going 5.5 furlongs earlier this summer, and we all went, holy shit! 104 buyer, looked incredible. Jared's best bet on Dudes Who Bet Daily that day and was not the favorite. Hijazi was. Hijazi finished second straight time. This horse is now trying turf, and it's interesting because you don't usually think Bob Baffert, yeah, turf, but he's done this before with this race as well, with this Speakeasy, which is a Breeders' Cup winning for the juvenile turf sprint. This horse was so unbelievably fast. If he can carry that over to the turf, he should be great. He's drawn all the way outside in a field of 9. Juan Hernandez is going to be aboard now. He's going to have plenty of options to overlook things. This is a son of Byron, a Florida bred. Byron stands for $7,500. The horse sold for $200,000 earlier this year after really great work at OBS. So, the fact that Byron didn't run on the turf, his 9% first-time turf winners, I'm not worried about that. You got Pioneer of the Nile underneath. And again, the speed this horse possessed, that's usually how you win the Speakeasy Stakes. So you just got to go out there and just blitz them. And if you can carry that speed to the Breeders' Cup juvenile turf sprint as well, he's going to be pretty deadly. But I am very excited about him because this horse is extremely fast. And the fact that Baffert's putting him here when he could easily try and put him into a dirt stakes, it's interesting to me, Mike.
Do you feel like this is a positive sign for Cave Rock and what Baffert thinks Cave Rock, his other big-time horse, can do on the dirt? I mean, that the first time you mentioned turf, I'm like, oh, we think we got the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on lock then with the other 2-year-old.
Yeah, and it's the same ownership group, the three amigos, Peregrine, Watson, Whiteman, which is one of Baffert's oldest, dating back. Someone reminded me, Silver Charm, when we talked about this in the Magic Mike show. I was like, I can't think of some older horses, but Silver Charm was a big one they had as well. I think it's partially that, Cave Rock is an absolute monster and is probably winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as long as he makes the race. So Speedboat Beach. Listen, if this doesn't work out, you also still have time. Like the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, based off of his debut effort, the Breeders' Cup would probably let Speedboat Beach into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile because you don't usually get overdrawn for that race. So this is an interesting thing for Baffert to try, see what he's got. I think ultimately what this is also telling us, Mike, this might be a sprinter, so don't necessarily take short Derby futures on Speedboat Beach quite yet. But yeah, I'm excited to see him. It made this race, which was already going to be interesting because Talteriot's in it. Our friend Geist has a small piece of Talteriot with Little Red Feather Racing. I was already excited to see that horse, but Geist is not excited to see Speedboat Beach in this field. Let's just say that.
No, and Bayerns generally do transition well over to the turf, specifically turf sprinting. So I think you got a good shot to see a big effort there from Speedboat on Sunday. The other 2-year-old race is over at Aqueduct on Saturday. Just really quickly, we'll talk about the Champagne where It's a good rendition of this, just a 6-horse field, but you've got Verifying 9-5 out of the 3 posts. This is a Son of Justify for Brad Cox. Joel Rosario popped an 85 buyer, first time out, and what was a decent maiden special weight at Saratoga. And then you got Gulfport, the 6-horse all the way on the outside, which was monstrous at Churchill twice, and then got an awful ride from Rosario, and then blew the turn with Pratt aboard. And now we're switching up jockeys again. Go ahead to Ortiz brother here. The two are both very good, but it's a deep 6-horse field. I'm excited to see where this goes. And there's a lot of speed here. I mean, I kind of am a little bit interested in a price on Blazing Sevens, the 5-horse, because it's the only horse that seems to show any propensity to close.
I was laughing because so Mike did the preview. It's actually just right before we went live today. The preview for the Champagne is up on the YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. But I preemptively was planning for it, and I was looking through the field. I know Mike well enough. I already knew which horses he was going to talk about and which replays to save. And I had Blazing Seven saved at the very end because I was like, he's going to come back to this horse at the end because it just looks like a Mike Somich horse to play underneath here. He's got some good form. This is an interesting race. Andiamo Frenzy on the rail is a half brother to Frenzy Fire, who won this race. I think 2017. Yeah, it would have been the Del Mar Breeders' Cup here. Verifying in here the half to Midnight Bisou. I don't know. That horse, I think people were understandably very excited about it. But the more I watched that race, the more I have some questions about Verifying his grainness a little bit right now. So we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, and you obviously know I did not put Verifying on top. Make sure to check out that preview over at racingdudes.com to see who I did put on top. But yeah, I feel like this might be too much too soon for Verifying because that, like you said, just horse hasn't figured it out yet. And sometimes it takes a little bit. And in these 2-year-old races, especially the stakes races, sometimes the most mentally prepared horse is the horse that ends up winning the race. I think that could be the 5. We'll just put it that way because the 6 clearly has some mental issues of his own that he's trying to work through. A ton of talent for those two. But it's interesting. And someone, I think that's probably Aaron, just mentions Top Recruit. One thing I found really interesting about Andiamo Frenzy, Irad and Jose ride this horse his first 3 races. Both of them on other horses today.
Yep. I caught that as well.
Pretty bad sign if you're a backer of Andiamo a Firenze there. We'll see how the Champagne plays out as well. I want to talk a little bit of horses before we jump into our best bets here. Again, went 3-1. We got a couple college best bets. Magic back with his CFL expert pick of the day. He's been crushing the CFL. I love this little angle we're working here. And then I'm going to close it out here at Aqueduct. We'll kick it off with a couple of college bets from the Halterman clan. Aaron going with Houston. I actually have to update this. It's Houston -3 now. This actually moved just before the show. Aaron's taking Houston for a couple reasons. First off, I agree with this pick. I actually like Houston as well. They're playing Tulane. Tulane's offensive firepower just can't stand up to Houston's. But the key here is Tulane 2-back beat Kansas State. They're getting a ton of credit for that win. Then came back and lost at home next time out to Southern Miss, who's 2-2. Now they're going to Houston. 3 is too short here. I agree with Aaron. He said it should be up to 7. That might be a little aggressive in my book. 7 might be much. But I do like this. Anything at 3 or less, I think, is a solid play there for Houston. Magic, what do you think of the Cougars?
I love Cougars. Big fan of Cougars.
I knew I could set you up for that one. All right, Papa Dude, he's going to head over to Los Angeles and take the UCLA Bruins plus the 3 points at home. Washington come calling. UCLA Friday night games, usually pretty good there. The stadium's large, so you don't see that same massive amount of home field edge because of how big the stadium is. It's a little tough to fill it there. This UCLA team is pretty good. They're explosive on the offensive side of the ball. I like them catching the 3. I'd like them more catching the 3.5. I may wait to see if it's closer to game time, if we can get that 3.5, because this is never going to 2.5. It's either going to 3.5 or staying at 3. So I think you can kind of wait this out a little bit and see what happens. But I like UCLA at the +3, as does Papa Dude. So hopefully we can get a couple college football games home. Magic, are you going to watch the UCLA game? It's your home team.
Nobody cares about UCLA out here.
Know that. That's why I said the home field advantage wouldn't be that great, because no one goes to if you don't know, Rose Bowl is like 120,000 seats. Have you ever been to a UCLA game, Magic?
Yeah, a bunch of them, actually. It's a pretty cool stadium, but it's nowhere close to campus or LA.
No.
It's next to Santa Anita.
The tailgating before the game is actually phenomenal because there's a massive golf course. So we used to bring our putters and just get trashed, and we'd be putting on the green, and we'd make our own little mini golf courses on the green because they always would forget to fill in the little holes. So a lot of fun to tailgate UCLA games. The crowd's just not that crazy.
It was always fun watching the drunks coming back from the game at night because you have to go back through the golf course, and they always forget it's a golf course. The falling in the sand traps, how many people just completely over a hill face planted into them. Never got old. It never got old.
I would be lying if I have said I have not drunkenly slept under at least one tree on that golf course.
Brookside Golf Course.
It's you got to find the shade, man. When you start at like 9 a.m. and the game's at noon and it's hot out and it's not an entertaining game, you leave at halftime and you go find a tree to sleep under while everyone else watches the game comes back. It's happened. I'm not
Primo kettle corn at UCLA football games too. Primo kettle corn.
There you go. Go to the UCLA football games for the food.
And the tailgating. Yeah.
And the tailgating. Yeah, that's what we learned today on today's show. All right, Magic. Let's take us up north. You're taking a dog here. Catching 9.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan
Rough Riders.
Rough Riders. There it is.
Yeah. They're playing Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 12-2. Bombers still very heavy favorites to win the title. Looking pretty strong. A few weeks ago, I picked Saskatchewan to, I think it was plus 7.5, and they were at Winnipeg. And then that was the game where over half the team had a bad stomach virus, and they were literally picking up guys on the way to the game. The general manager was driving across Canada, picking up players so that they could go play and have enough guys suited up for the game. They lost by over 30 points, understandably so. Now we're back. And since then, Saskatchewan, not only has everybody been healthy, they bounced back from that really bad stomach virus with a good effort, but they're getting healthy. Their starting center is back from a broken leg. We haven't seen him all season, at least since the start. And then their left tackle has been in and out a lot, but they're starting left tackle. So now we're solidifying what I would think, Mike, at least back when I used to follow football all the time, the two most important positions on the offensive line, the center and the left tackle. You now have those solidified. Shaq Evans. Remember this guy from college? He was the most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League in the past. He's finally back from some injury issues he had earlier this year, and he's looking back into form. So all this to say, I don't know that it's enough for Saskatchewan to pull the upset. Winnipeg does sometimes throw up a clunker at home. They got upset by Montreal. Montreal's a much worse team than Saskatchewan. So I definitely think the Rough Riders cover plus 9. Bombers, I think, win, but they tend to play these games a little bit close. So Rough Riders plus 9, Bombers still winning the Grey Cup.
I love it. Maybe sprinkle a little money line in there. Plus 9, you're probably getting a good, plus 300, something in that range. So I don't hate that. Maybe we get a little Rough Rider W there in the Blue Bombers home base. So we'll see what happens here. I like the pick, Saskatchewan plus 9. Hopefully we can get that puppy home. Yeah, DMX there, the Rough Riders. Do they play that song? They have to play that song, right? It's Canada.
Oh, I got to. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
it's probably a lot cheaper now that he's not. Anyways,
or more expensive depending on who owns the catalog. All right, let's talk about my best bet of the day. I'm going to head over to Aqueduct. I didn't love any of the college football games, so I didn't want to go in that direction. Screw baseball. I've had enough of that. There's other things we can bet on now, luckily, including the NHL preseason Magic. Did you know?
Yeah.
It started. I'm going to go with the daily double here in the 4th race. Kick it off with the number 4 horse, Actualize. This race is awful. I mean, really, that's the bottom line. Your favorites on the outside, the 6 horse Upper Level. Upper Level's coming out of 5.5 furlong turf sprints and has consistently quit in all of them. Now we're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. I'm not sure we carry that speed over. I feel like Actualize is the better horse. Actualize dropping out of $95,000 maiden special weights. I don't love the fact that we are 0 for 6, but we consistently hit the board at a higher level. I'll give this horse a shot here at this level, which I think is the correct, which is a $40,000 maiden claimer. So we'll take Actualize on the drop, and then we'll go to the 5th race here. St. Selby is 9-5 on the morning line. It's a 6.5 furlong sprint. Just simply put, St. Selby's the speed of the speed on the rail, and he's going to get a couple lengths loose. And if he does, he's going to be very tough to catch at the 6.5. The only other horse I'm really worried about is a 6, all the way on the outside, who does like to stalk and pounce there, but I don't think that anyone goes with St. Selby, and I don't think Happy Farm can get by in the stretch if St. Selby has a 2 and 2.5 length lead early in that race. So we're going to go with a double 4-1. See if we can get this. Will probably pay like 5 or 6 to 1. So this would be one of those nice ones to just juice up that weekly record. Did you look at the Aqueduct races at all, Magic? Or are you just kind of catching up as I go through?
Well, I know that St. Selby is actually the power play at racingnews.com. If you don't know racingnews.com, right on the homepage, right at the top, Aaron Halterman every day tells you what his most likely winner is any track anywhere across the country. He has the number 1 St. Selby that's part of this daily double, and the horse will probably be even money. Maybe it could fall even underneath even money. But what Mike's doing here, and what the point of the power play is to say, like, here's a horse that we think can win, and now how can we make some money? So Mike is taking the power play, Aaron's most likely winner. Mike likes that horse as well, and he's pairing it in a daily double. So like you're saying, Mike, instead of a 2-1, 9-5 morning line, when it's going to be a lot less if you bet them to win straight up, your double figures are going to be good enough to make this playable.
Yeah, and if anyone's watching this show for the first time, our goal here is to provide even money or better bets, right? We're trying to play, looking at a sports
Also
side.
that.
So you're laying minus 110 all the time. In horse racing, if you can pick a winner that's a cold winner at even money, we'll take that as good as a minus 110 winner in the sports world. So that's how we're addressing these best bets, trying to keep it forward and keep it rocking. So far, it's worked out pretty good. We go about 15 minutes every day here, noon Eastern on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So we get those noon kickoffs in on Saturday. We'll be back at 11 tomorrow. Let's go over these best bets real quick. I appreciate you pulling this up for me, Magic, when I was flapping my gums there. Papa Dude taking UCLA +3. Aaron going with the Houston Cougars -3. Magic going with the Saskatchewan Roughriders +9. And I'm going to go to Belmont at Aqueduct, or Royal Aqueduct, if you will. Race number 4, daily double. Give me the 4 and the 1. Weekly record, we were up $75, 4 and 3 for the year. Starting in July, we are up $2,679 off a $100 base bet. Love that, baby. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. covering a packed college football Saturday and horse racing Saturday. Good luck, everybody. We will see you at the track.